Hello, everybody, and welcome to our next webinar in the Efma Accenture Innovation and Insurance series. And we're delighted to have you all here today to follow up, indeed, on one of the trends that we saw coming out of the 2021 Insurance Awards, and that's greening the insurance industry. So I'm not going to say too much about that. You've got plenty of experts here to go through it. And we're joined today by Sylvia Milian and Nina Yais from Accenture, who'll be taking us through precisely that particular trend and what's going on in the market at the moment. And then we'll be talking to Lauretta Filangieri from Intesa Sanpaolo Vita, Hayat Uraghi from BNP Paribas Cardiff, and Catherine Cummings from Sanitas, who will all be here to share some of their case studies and what they've been doing in their own markets. So without any further ado, I'll hand straight over to you, Sylvia. Thank you very much for being here today, and welcome to everybody.
Thank you very much, Hannah, for the introduction. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I think, as you all know, sustainability is a subject of global concern as we deal with the impacts of natural disasters, climate change, and regional issues of the environment and social imbalance. So it's not surprising then that really sustainability is a hot topic in insurance. Through our analysis of the Efma Accenture innovation in insurance entries, we noted that sustainability is featured in the majority of our entries, with many innovations addressing sustainability in some way and from a variety of angles. So for that reason, we are thrilled to introduce today Accenture's own sustainability MD, Nina Yais. Nina is a well-known thought leader in sustainability and has shared her insights on this important topic in Harvard Business Review and Institutional Investor, among others. So Nina, we look forward to hearing your insights.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for having me. I think we have a fantastic all-female panel today. So turning not just, we won't touch only on greening, but I think also on other aspects of the social and diversity side in this panel as well. So thank you all for having me. What we see, and I brought just a couple of slides here, is that sustainability is a trend that has maybe manifested itself in insurance a bit later than in other industries, but it's one that's here to stay. I have a couple of facts to share on the next slide, just to give you a little bit of a size of the pie here. Really, everyone in executives, or at least the vast majority, 83%, agree that we have to adopt a view of value creation that is not just focused on financials, that is much more 360, as we would call it, multidimensional, and that the companies that understand that and combine it with their other transformations, especially digital transformation, will really outperform their peers 2.5 times in the future. So there's really something to this that is, of course, extremely important for our society and the environment, manifested in the Sustainable Development Goals that we have set ourselves as a broader society here, but that is also working for companies, that it can pay off. And of course, if we look at the magnitude of change, the donations are just a fraction of what companies can deliver with their business model, with their revenues. So that is why it's so important to change companies in their business models. And the interesting piece is, though, how to do it. And insurance CEOs might be a bit more puzzled than other CEOs in other industries about how to drive that change. So that's why it's absolutely key to have these types of webinars. I'll also be speaking at the upcoming Efma Live event in December on this to make sure that we can really practice share on it. If we move to the next slide, we do see that we can take maybe a little bit of a page of the books from banks who have accelerated their sustainability journey in, I would say, the last 2 years massively, going from the classic ESG frameworks to, where you do craft your strategy, set your goals, your targets, understand where you can differentiate in your offerings and your operations, potentially new markets versus your peers, to then going into operating structure, making it real with incentives to really change the organization, to also upskill the organization and bring everyone along with these goals, have them understand what it means for their particular business area and how they can contribute as individual employees, but also really in their respective functions. And then, of course, we wouldn't be Accenture if we wouldn't also see the bigger data and technology play that is really here, that will enable sustainability and lead to this bigger transformation that we're seeing. So yes, it is in the management education, yes, it is in strategy, but it is also in the systems that we're using of how we can then manage and track ESG goals and see whether they really manifest, see whether the new business models are profitable, but also enable them. So if we think about behavior change, of course, our cell phone, our digital self is ideal to be connected with much closer from an insurer's standpoint. And it's an opportunity for insurers to get much closer to their customers through this topic. So there's much on the agenda. If we look to the next page, these are the couple of sustainability topics that I'd like to highlight for purpose-driven insurers. We've clustered them here in external focus and internal focus. And the upmost three that you see here is really from a study that I did with Harvard Professor Michael Porter and FSG on shared value in insurance. And when Harvard Professor Michael Porter talks about this, he really sees insurers as the guardians of the future and the ultimate shared value industry, because you can really benefit whenever societal conditions improve. So preventing risk, rewarding risk reduction, for example, through digital platforms that increase better health, be that physical health or mental health, will increase, it will drive down cost and increase profitability. And we know fantastic examples where we have 21% lower cost due to such new models, and hence, of course, much higher profitability. But also in terms of finding new ways to protect, this would increase your revenues. So where do we overlook certain client segments that are underserved, or where do we find propositions to join in the circular economy and this move of our insurance business-to-business clients to more circular models, be this about recycled cement, for example, or recycled car batteries. This is all a new territory and very interesting, not just in the underwriting, for sure, also in the ESG asset management. And if we look internally in the company, this is about the responsible organization, as I said, taking talent along, minimal footprint, and here we're very back to our greening piece, minimal footprint as in the internal organization, in your work with the underwritten companies, in your work with the investees, and then finally risk management and governance across all the insurance. These are the things that come up again and again in my conversations with clients in our projects. And I think we have today also a couple of really great examples for how this is already manifesting in the insurance industry. So I'm excited to talk now to the three exciting panelists that we have lined up here. And first and foremost, of course, over to you, Hayat.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here with you today and open this discussion around this great topic. So thank you, Nina. My name is Hayat Ouraghi. I'm Senior Relationship Manager for Telecom Partners and expert on mobile insurance product design and distribution at BNP Paribas Cardiff. Next, please. Next, thank you. Before starting, I would like to present BNP Paribas Cardiff, which is the insurance arm of BNP Paribas Group. We are part of investment and protection services division within BNP Paribas, which include asset management, wealth management, and real estate. Next, please. Cardiff is currently the market leader in creditor protection insurance, insuring over 100 million customers throughout the world. We are present in 33 countries and we have over 45 years experience. In 2020, we achieved solid results and despite the crisis with 24.8 billion euros gross written premium. Next, please. Thank you. Our business model is based on a B2B2C approach. We have about 500 partners in 4 key business lines. And in 2020, we initiated or renewed 110 partners. Next, please. So now let's discuss how BNP Paribas Cardiff is greening the insurance industry thanks to Smarty Plus. I am personally addicted onto my smartphone. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Before going further, I would like to show you a video. Mirka, I think there is an issue with the video. Oh, sorry for the technical issues with the video. It's always like this. So today we live in a hyper digitalized world. We use our smartphone everywhere, every time, and for multiple things such as monitoring our health, controlling our home, or staying connected with our friends, colleagues, and beloved. Next, please. But such a small device has a very negative impact for the environment. To produce one smartphone, we need natural and multiple resources such as aluminium, for example, and other substances like magnesium, carbon, and lithium. What we need to keep in mind is that one smartphone requires about 70 kilograms natural resources. There are about 3.5 billion active smartphones across the world. By active, I mean a smartphone with a SIM card. Today, unfortunately, only 1% of those smartphones are recycled. Why? It's because people tend to keep their smartphone, their used smartphone, in a drawer at home or replace it when it breaks. Saying that, we clearly see that considering production plus usage for 1 year is estimated at 85 kilograms CO2 equivalent. And if we extend this period to 5 years, the impact is almost divided by 2. Why? Because after 5 years, we can neutralize the impact related to the production. On the next slide, first, I would like to give you some background. So at BNP Paribas Cardiff, we wanted to extend our mobile insurance offer, which was mainly covering new devices to second-hand devices, as we are convinced that insurance can contribute to the extension of smartphones' life cycle. Why? Because we know that repair costs can be high and not all customers can afford for such cost. So from time to time, it is easier to change the device instead of repairing it. For all those reasons, we wanted to cover second-hand smartphone up to 5 years and beyond. So at why beyond, we cannot commit on that because we have also some issues related to spare parts. But as you may know, the European Commission is working also on this topic, and not only to make those spare parts accessible, or at least to know this duration of accessibility of the spare parts. Also, Cardiff mission is to make insurance accessible to the majority of people. And as I said, insurance can really contribute to that. To make it possible, one of the prerequisites on a risk point of view was to do a complete check of the smartphone prior to the subscription. So we have decided to look for a solution to do this check. And we clearly decided not to involve salespeople. As I said in introduction, our business model is based on a B2B2C approach. So we prefer to not to transfer actually this part to our distributor and find a way so that the customer can do it by himself. Thanks to the technology, we have decided then to develop this diagnosis tool, Smarty Plus, with our technological partners. And thanks to this technology, we have been able to launch our mobile insurance for second-hand devices, which allow customers to reduce their carbon footprint and be more sustainable. So our mobile application is multi-languages because we also wanted at corporate level to have a single solution that can be used by all our countries. So multi-languages, tests are completely modular. The app is also available in white label to be able to be used by our partners. And in terms of user experience, we wanted to have something extremely simple and very easy to use by our customer. If we go on the next slide, here are some screenshots of Smarty Plus. To reach this application, we have done some evaluation, we have done some studies, and we found, as I said, technological partners to develop our solution. So Smarty Plus is a mobile application, as a summary, that allows any customer to do a complete check of his device at distance, so that we have been able to extend our mobile insurance offer and be more sustainable and contribute at our level to be more sustainable and reduce carbon footprint. On the next slide, and to conclude, I would like to say that our goal is to green as much as possible within BNP Paribas Cardiff the value chain. We have defined criteria, for example, to choose our providers for repairs as example, but not only. We have already initiated concrete actions like in some countries with the usage of second-hand spare parts to repair the devices. And we clearly see here what it is very interesting is that we have asked some customers if they are happy with such a solution, and The answer is clearly yes. So there is also a shift on the customer minds. They want to be more green, more sustainable, and they are happy with second-hand spare part as far as the smartphone is working properly. Also, we are working on other projects with the same spirit, I would say, green projects that I would be happy to present in another session in the coming, probably next year, I don't know, as we are currently working on it. Last but not least, I would like to thank Efma, Accenture for the organization of this webinar. And if you have any question, feel free to ask. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Hayat. And I think it's such a fantastic example of a new protection that you have designed here, that uses the logic of circular business models, really reduces the footprint. Fantastic. My question would be, and of course everyone else can post questions in the chat and we're watching them, but my question would be, how do you bring this type of solutioning also to other parts, repeated in other parts of BNP Paribas?
So within Cardiff, we have first a collaborative platform where all initiatives are recorded by employees. Also, we have a setup around innovation with a Cardiff lab, and also we have 3 hubs, one in Europe, another one in Asia, and the last one which will be shortly opened in Latin America, to spread all those initiatives done by employees or directly by with our partners. What is also interesting, as employee, we have this great opportunity at BNP Paribas Cardiff to push ID with positive impact. We have a budget dedicated to initiative with positive impact. This was my case with where I presented a Smarty Plus to an ex-co member, and he immediately said yes. When I said, okay, I want to do this and this. So I got the budget, and this is clearly a good example to show how an ID can become a reality. And this app is today available in our Cardiff lab. So we have already multiple projects in various countries. We have already launched Smarty Plus in Spain, in Turkey, and also in France, and shortly in Latin America. Also, we have discussion in Russia and so on. So a good project, and everything see an interest within.
Fantastic to hear. Yeah, and also I think very interesting the geographic aspect that you've touched upon, and that I think we'll also touch upon in our next contribution. But it's really something across the world. I mean, I'm seeing this in my work, that it is an important topic from Latin America to Asia, but also interesting to see that from you. I don't know whether you want to add any last comment on this geographic spread and where people might be picking up the most, but then I think we have to move over to the next participant.
No, but just to conclude, I think that as individual and as employees, we are all concerned about sustainability. So if you have ID, don't hesitate to push them. And because we can see that very small things at the end can do a big and very positive impact for the environment. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you. Lauretta, fantastic. You're on. And I think you can also share camera here. This is perfect. can see each other. Over to you.
Good afternoon to everybody, and thanks, Nina, for the invitation. I'm Laura Filangeri, and I'm Head of Insurance Innovation and Change Management within the Intesa Sanpaolo Vita Insurance Group. In the next slide, just a quick glance of who we are. Next one, please. Thank you. Well, Intesa Sanpaolo Vita Insurance Group is part of Intesa Sanpaolo Group. That is a leader group within in Europe, and we are a leader in the Italian insurance landscape. The insurance division represents at the moment 10 brands that market their products and are active in both life, pension, P&C, and health insurance, mainly in the Italian market, but also in the Spanish market, in East Europe. We are currently accounting for more than 25% of the total group revenue, and we are first player in Italy in terms of asset under management with more than 174 billion. And we are within the top 10 players in P&C and health insurance. Today, I wanted to share with you a project that we launched almost a year ago. If we can go to the next slide, and it's sharing responsibility. For Intesa Sanpaolo Vita Group, it's very important to create value and guarantee a sustainable growth both for business and the community. But we also think that in order to do it, we have to create and gain traction and create interest in this kind of topics and spread and enhance a sustainability culture within also our colleagues. So we are doing a lot of several projects towards the customers, but shared responsibility was dedicated to our colleagues, the employees, because we wanted to give a big signal of the importance for us also in the strategy of the company of sustainability and thinking in a sustainable and inclusive way. So we built these entertainment initiatives that involved all the employees of the companies in 4 different locations. It was both in Italian and in English. We tried to use external communication, guerrilla marketing, and technology in order to leverage the interest and create culture on ESG topics. If we go to the next slide, just the project at a glance, we divided the project into 3 steps. First of all, we wanted to create curiosity and to attract interest from our colleagues, and so we employed in order to catch their interest both guerrilla marketing techniques and launching an app that we built together with our provider in order to develop a quiz game in dealing with the different part of the ESG and NDG principles. The second step was launching the contest and creating interest and competition within the colleagues in order to really to make them play and learn playing during the play. And the third part was education, so consolidate the learning and the know-how created during the gaming and warm-up phases. And we did it building a lot of billboards that we distributed in different locations, and also digital boards that we propose to our colleagues through our intranet and other channels. The next, this slide is just a quick example of how we developed the app. We wanted to be really very quick process and seamless in order to maximize the conversion and build really an optimized funnel. And it was very easy because it was a web-based app, and the colleague could play, replay, edit every time he wanted, and if he was satisfied with the result, he could record the name and result and enter the ranking. Next slide is an example of the communication mix we used. As I was saying, in the warm-up step, we use a lot of guerrilla marketing. For example, we put a lot of images in the lift, in the elevators, in the bathrooms. I remember reminding them of the use, for example, of water, and all also the other public common parts, the canteen and other common parts of our offices, and of course also on the digital channels. In the gaming phase, we pushed on the participation with a focused communication aimed to create a competition and emulation in terms of ranking and also a purpose, a sense of what we were doing, because well, sorry, I didn't tell this before, but we had two kinds of rewards. We wanted to reward people interested and in the teams and playing many times and doing well while playing, but also to create a common purpose on these initiatives. So we told our colleagues that if more than 500 we would have more than 500 plays, we would also recognize a collective reward expressed in terms of carbon credits that we would buy in order to compensate our carbon footprint. In the next step, the education step, we build, as I was saying, the billboards. And well, we had individual award, as I was saying, for the top 40 players, and we also bought 500 tons of carbon credits in order to compensate around half our carbon footprint. And we invested in a project in Madagascar in order to create a clean water for the local population. Next slide. As I was saying, the results were amazing. I mean, we collected more than 3,900 plays, and we more than reached so our collective reward goal, and we involved more than half our population and multiple plays. Nina, I've concluded.
Fantastic.
If I can add something, as we were discussing the other day, for us it's really very, very important to address our colleagues and at the same time the customer in a very, I mean, attractive and way, and we believe that the external and internal communication should have the same quality level, as you were saying. And we really believe that create culture, whether it's a protection culture, a sustainability culture, and a customer centricity culture, is a core in order to build a sound strategy. Because, well, you know better than me, but when we speak about innovation, new ways, adoption is as important as idea generation.
Absolutely.
We have to be drop by drop together in this.
And I think you've presented such a modern example for how to drive change in an organization towards a new culture that is needed to even, you know, as the basis to create then the ideas and then again uptake in the products. But I think if you want to expand a bit on this cohesiveness of the experience and maybe the at least an outlook towards behavior change also, be that for the employees or also what you're sharing then internally for your colleagues with a view towards implementing such a thing for customers?
Well, on the internal part, it was really, well, a surprise. I believe that when you invest in people, people will give you back double what you give them. And it was really funny because I didn't say that, but we were across the lockdown, so we launched the product with the guerrilla and all, and then in Italy was a lockdown for the pandemic. But it was amazing how they used this also to keep in contact, make comparison, and help each other in answering correctly, because the rank, well, the mark was correct answers, but also the time used to finish the game. I think that open up doors to many other initiatives that we are conducting in order to really be a main player in making an impact in society on these topics. For the external part, we are well, doing a lot, but we are also focusing on developing a protection culture. In your initial slide, correctly you said we are underinsured, mainly in Italy. And we did a lot of research and asked customers, mainly young customers, what they thought about that and why they didn't have high propensity to buy insurance. And at the end of the day, if somebody don't understand the importance and utility of what you buy, they see only the cost and not the value. And in order to make everybody perceive the value of something that's absolutely immaterial, mainly for PSC business, you have first of all to open a discussion and start from explaining the needs and how protection can help enhance your life and your the way you live, and also the way you can plan your future. And then you start creating awareness on solutions. And at the moment we are, well, we are conducting a very nice initiative. It's a contest dedicated to young people, Proteggere ad Arte, that is protect at art, because we are engaging young artists, asking them how they would present to other millennials, explain to other millennials the importance of protection. And it's going very well, and we are happy because it means that people want to express and be, I think, the stars in a main actor in their life. And brand value and positioning is getting more and more important also in creating coherence among product strategy, communication, and also what you do in the other ESG initiatives.
Yeah, and I can contribute 2 other research artifacts to what you just said, and it's one of them is indeed this understanding of the super immaterial insurance product. You need additional sensitivity, culture, and really also diverse sales personnel to some extent to reach also everyone in society. We know, for example, there are numbers in the US already that tell us 10 percentage point higher desire for life insurance in Black population, but afterwards only 10 percentage point lower actual takeout of life insurance from the Black population. So massive gap, because also most of the sales personnel might not really match and might not necessarily meet customers exactly where they are and then have the same trust basis. So having either extra sensitivity about this or also some change in the makeup of the organization is quite important to keep in mind. And I think sometimes we just overlook these facets of our complicated products in this sense. And the other piece is from our global insurance consumer study, we see that particularly millennials, as you pointed out, are increasingly asking for sustainability aspects. So they want, if they take out travel insurance, they would really welcome advice on sustainable travel from the insurers. So it's a big opportunity also to connect.
Absolutely agree.
Fantastic. Well, I think then let's move over to our next topic. Again, I think we want to encourage everyone to also post questions in the chat if you have them. But for now, we'll be hearing from Catherine. And Catherine, if you can come on video as well, that would be just wonderful.
Hello.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Perfect.
Oh dear.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Kathy Cummings, and I am Sustainability and Public Affairs Director for Sanitas. We are a healthcare company in Spain. We belong to the British group Bupa, and from Spain, we also take care of the Europe and Latin American markets, which is essentially the biggest are in Poland and in Chile. Next slide, please. Just to give you a brief idea of Bupa Group, Bupa stands for British United Provident Association. It was created in 1947 in the UK, at the same time as the NHS was being created, very much as a company with the idea that we have to respond to the requirements, to the needs, the health needs of the society of the time. Sanitas was incorporated into this group in 1989 in Spain, and just like Bupa, we just work in healthcare, private medical insurance, private hospitals, dental clinics, and care homes. We have no shareholders. This means that we do invest our profits in our group, and it does mean that sustainability for us is key. And what we have been seeing very clearly in the last few years is how important it is to incorporate sustainability in our mindset. As you well said, Nina, we benefit when society improves. And for us, that is especially the case of looking at One Health and understanding health not as an individual concern anymore, but as a collective concern. If you could go to the next slide, we have here, let's say, the 4 crucial challenges that we all face as a society, where health also interconnects. We have lifestyles that, despite maternity, means we are not getting the best. 9% of deaths are premature and due to a lack of physical activity due to the Lancet. either because people don't want to, but more specifically because their lifestyles are sedentary or the cities where they live offer no opportunity for sustainable mobility. 7 million deaths a year are due to air pollution, according to the World Health Organization. That's more now than tobacco. And we're desperate for green spaces in our cities, and we know that people who live in greater proximity to green spaces have greater longevity in our cities than those who don't. And even more than that, we know we need these green spaces because 70% of infectious diseases now are due to zoonosis, which is especially encouraged when we eliminate nature's walls and nature's barriers, which allow viruses to jump straight from the host animal to humans. So we have definitely landed on the conclusion as a healthcare company that our focus has to be a One Health focus. People's health is connected to our planet's health. So we need to regreen our insurance because that is the best way we can look after people's health. So if we go to the next slide, with this in mind, we reviewed a lot of our projects, and if you could go to the following slide, in 2015, we decided that we had to have projects that really responded to this situation that we were seeing, to this concept of One Health. We brought together 2 pillars that we had been developing in our agenda, community environment, to create a program called Healthy Cities. This program allows us also to respond to the Sustainable Development Goal number 3, because we're going to encourage healthy lifestyles. We want people to take care of their health. And we want to help them to stay healthy. We don't want to wait for them to get ill. But we also want to then create sustainable cities so that they have green spaces to go out, so that they have clean air to keep them healthy when they go out. And this is only going to be possible if we bring together a collective collaboration. So this is why we also decided we were going to work with other big companies like ourselves, and also with local organizations and institutions to make this happen for everyone. If you could go to the next slide, please. We have a short video to share with everybody how we started innovating in our sustainability projects to respond to this new environment.
Si contaminamos el agua que bebemos, el aire que respiramos y en fin, los alimentos que comemos, todo eso va a terminar pagando un precio, vamos a terminar pagando un precio, y ese precio se llama salud. La tarea de devolver la salud y la sostenibilidad al planeta nos implica a todos y lo tenemos que hacer, lo tenemos que abordar juntos. El tema de las zonas verdes en las ciudades es un tema que se está estudiando cada vez más y mejor. De hecho, ahora mismo se habla ya de la renaturalización de las ciudades.
Thank you very much. So that's given you a brief overview of Healthy Cities. What is it in a nutshell? If you don't mind going to the next slide. Essentially, it's a drive to fight against sedentary lifestyles. We need to fight that 9% of completely inexplicable premature deaths, at the same time as we also advocate for healthier environments. If we tell people as doctors that they have to go out and take physical exercise, they have to have a space, a healthy space to go out and do that. If we go to the next slide, please. So what we suggested, and we were able to do this because of new technology, we suggested to a huge audience a sponsored walk, but not a sponsored walk that takes place in one day. No, a sponsored walk that takes place over 8 weeks where people have to walk 6,000 steps every day. 6,000 steps corresponds to the World Health Organization recommendation of 300 minutes of physical activity a week. If people complete this challenge, we, Sanitas, will donate money to cities in Spain so that we can create more green spaces. This is, if you want, the virtuous cycle that we are looking to get, and looking to get people motivated not only for themselves, but for future generations and the good of their children. Next slide, please. What we saw clearly is that we couldn't move this ourselves as a health insurance company. We had to come together with other companies to do this. And we thought this was very much in line with what the 2030 agenda is asking us, which is asking us, the corporate community, to come together and to try and make a positive impact in the world. So last year, for example, we came together with these 80 companies here. Accenture were among these companies, so we're very happy about that. And what we did is we invited all 250,000 employees of these companies to participate in this challenge of walking 6,000 steps every day. And we were supported by great partners, the Real Madrid Football Club, and also the Olympic Committee and the Paralympic Committee, who activated with their sports personalities and support all the different activities that also take part along the 8 weeks. And the Spanish Heart Foundation is our scientific partner here. We wanted to make sure that this program had no commercial overtones, so they helped us identify the best challenge that was most sustainable for people, and they are also the organization that then help us identify the best projects in which to invest our donations. If we go to the next slide, we've been able to manage to bring this to so many people in a way that we couldn't have 10 years ago. And this is because digital platforms, easily connected to anybody's telephone or wearables, meant that everybody could join in. And in our company, that means people who work in offices, people who work in care homes, doctors, nurses, dentists, everybody, which is one of the great powers, I think, of the digital age. And I agree with Nina about the combination of digital and sustainability being key to really make a step change. And what it also allowed us to do was to be very transparent with people, so they could see if they made the challenge. As soon as they did, we made sure that we showed them that we honored our promise of investing in urban regeneration projects. And if you go to the next slide, we have our CEO, Iñaki Peralta, in the donation of trees to Madrid's Metropolitan Forest. And he's here planting one of the first trees with the Deputy Mayor of Madrid, Begoña Beatriz. If we can then go to the final slides, I think the conclusion that we're seeing is not only is insurance greening, but people want to see us greening more. And in the first few years, in 2015, 2016, our donation projects were more concentrated in creating walkways in urban areas. And it's in the last few years that our participants have also asked us to go more green, and we're more happy to do this. And in fact, this year, as well as working with Madrid City, we're also working with WWF in Spain. And in Poland, with our colleagues in Poland, we also carried out the same challenge there, and we're working there with the Forestry Commission for Poland, planting 300,000 trees. So if we go to the final slide, I think that, no, sorry, and then the next slide after that, I think that this is just the beginning, and we can see that innovation is key to help us become more sustainable as a company, and to share more sustainability messages with our participants. And this will mean that as an insurance industry, we will also be able to share messages that hopefully will be able to bring a collective change in mindset of how we understand health and therefore how we protect the environment's health for the good of everybody. And that is our program, Healthy Cities.
Wow, yeah, thank you so much for sharing this, Catherine. And I can only imagine the tremendousness of organizing everyone in this. I mean, you mentioned already the role of technology, of course, to be transparent to customers, but I think it would be lovely to hear also from you, maybe the role of technology in bringing everyone together and just even orchestrating this, but maybe also the differences. Yes, the global or in this case here, really big goals that you have, but how do you make it real in the different cities? Because not everyone is starting from the same conditions, and sometimes it's even not quite dangerous to walk outside, depending on where you live and in which environment. So love for you to reflect a bit on that role of technology in both these aspects.
Absolutely. I think this is very key. Everybody should have the right to be able to take a 6,000 step walk where they live. And this is something we have to work towards as an insurance industry and as a healthcare company. You know, you cannot have healthy people if they don't live in healthy environments. And that's what we have to work together for, because it is in the benefit of society, but also in the insurance industry long term.
Yeah. And can you talk to orchestrating everyone on this a bit?
It's that global approach. So it's a global platform, which is very, very simple, but then the projects that we invest in are local. So this means that each area decides what is the best project for them. And probably everybody here will understand me when I say it's also political. So some cities have a more open agenda, and we can work with them. Some cities, they're not at that time, but there are other organizations that we can work with. And I think the reason is because the world wants more sustainability in the majority of countries. We have a company in Brazil, Care Plus. We have a company in Turkey. We have companies in Panama, Ecuador, Dominican Republic. And there is a same current through all of them, which is that we have to have green spaces for people to go out and relax in. And I think that's something we saw in COVID. Maybe 2 years ago, it would have been harder to have that conversation. Now, people are ready for it. And I think as an insurance industry, we have an opportunity to contribute and to be seen as part of the solution.
Thank you so much. I think we really have seen fantastic examples for being part of the solution from the beginning with the BNP Paribas on really the circular new inventions for products with Intesa from the internal organization standpoint, and now here an example really for bringing everyone on the same collective agenda. Thank you all so much for sharing, and I'm handing back over to Hannah. And I think we're on time.
I think we are on time. Yes, thank you very much. And the final word is really just that, really. Thank you all very much for joining us, for listening in. A very big thank you to you, Nina, for leading us through that discussion, for Sylvia, for the kind words in the beginning. And thank you really, Hayat, Lauretta and Catherine for coming and sharing what you're doing. It's really inspiring and encouraging to see everything that's happening. So thank you all for being here today. Wish you a very lovely evening for those of us in Europe, morning, afternoon for those of you around the world. Thank you all very much for being here, and speak to you all soon, I hope.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.